Hello guys, my name is Khan, and actually in today's video I will show you guys that how you can export data sets from R. So I have already created a folder data export, and I have one R code file for you guys which I will discuss with you guys. And I have within this folder I have also have Rds Data, which is the R's data format. So first I will open my R script. So I'm opening my R script. So as you can see, this is my R script. I'm going to open it in a separate window. And I think for you guys, I'm going to zoom in so that you guys able to see it more clearly. So as you guys notice that I always create a working directory. So I'm telling the R that all of my data sets that I want to import or export should be located in this folder, which is the same folder here, the F drive, then R videos, then data export. As you can see, F drive, R videos, data export. And then as you guys, I have shown you guys that I also have Rds data set in that folder. So first I will use this read rds command to load this data set in R, and then I am assigning that data set to an object named as rds data. So if I say Control Shift Home and then enter, you will be able to see that rds data set got uploaded here. And now if I go back to my R script, which is here. So now suppose if I'm doing some analysis and I want to update that data set, I want to create a new variable within that data set. So what I will do, so suppose if I want to create, so firstly, this is the data set which is saying that it has 74 observation, 12 variable, but I can expand that data set to show me more variable names, and if I click it, I can go into a browse window where I can see how the data is structured within this data frame. So what I will close it here. So suppose if I want to create a log price within this data set, so one way will be that I will say RDS dataset data and then dollar, and then I want to call it as, actually it will be my new variable, so it should be ln. Ln means natural log of price is equal to log and then data. So I will show you guys that why I'm saying data, why I'm not saying directly price. So here an important thing to note here is, suppose if I click here, Stata is giving me an error. So I have actually have written down data is RDS data. My data object name is RDS. So if I click here, you can see that R have created a new variable within this data frame, and now my number of variables were 12 before, now they are 13, and R have added a new variable within this data frame. I can also browse it now within this data frame. As you can see, an ln price variable have added here. So but it's better to understand what this command is doing. So as you can see, I am creating, if you look at the right hand side of the equation, so I am saying RDS data. So I am first telling the R that which data object you want to, from where you want to get your variable. So I'm saying RDS data, and it's required in R because in R you can upload multiple data sets in R environment. So that's why you have to tell R that which data frame or data object you are talking about. So first I told R that actually the variable that I want here is from Rds Data, and the variable within this data object is price. And here I am on the left hand side, I am telling R that I want to add a new variable in Rds Data dollar, and I have written down a variable name which was not there before. So this variable name is should be unique and should not be same as any object within this data. Suppose if I don't do that, so suppose if I call it again price, so you can see that R will maybe have given an error or may have just update this price variable by taking the log. So suppose if I do it now, so you can see that R have updated this variable name. Now both price and ln price have the same values. So whenever you create a new variable, it's better to make sure that the new variable name is a bit different from the variable name which are already in R. Otherwise you may lose data or may come up with the data may overlay the data on your dataset, which maybe cause an error in the end. So I will go back, and then so it's a bit annoying that why we have to keep on writing Rds Data whenever we are calling variable names. So you can get rid of this by Rds Data. So suppose if you know that I will be working on Rds Data in my code, then why I need to keep on saying Rds Data before each variable. So in order to get rid of writing down Rds Data, I think you can't completely get rid of. You sometimes you even then when you have to use this command to attach the data, but there will be some instances that where you have to mention. So I'm saying that attach Rds Data. So it's mean that whenever I will call the price, I don't need to write this $RDS Data. So this command will infuse. So after line 16, I don't need to mention that that I am talking about Rds Data variables. So suppose here, actually this is a bit kind of a good example that I will show you guys. So after attaching this Rds Data, now I am using this equation. So I'm saying create exponential underscore mpg, and then I'm saying should be equal to the exponential of this mpg variable. So if I control shift home and then control enter to execute the code, and I go back to my command. So here is an important thing to note, that in this command R have added Rds Data underscore here, and R come to know that he have to take the values from this object Rds Data object, and there is a variable within this data object is mpg, but R thought that I'm trying to create an vector here. So if you come here in this environment tab, so R haven't created this exponential underscore mpg within this data structure. Actually R have created a separate vector, a separate object named as exponential underscore mpg, and have added the exponential of mpg. So in such cases when you want that R don't create a separate object, in that cases when you're creating a new variable, then you have to use again you have to tell R that it's you want to create in an Rds Data. So Rds Data exponential mpg. So I will copy the whole command, copy $data. So now as you can see that now R have added the variable exponential underscore mpg within this Rds Data, and my vector is separately. But suppose if you want to remove this, so now, another thing you have to note down here is that we have currently in this environment we have two objects. One is the data object and one is the vector, and within this data object we have different variables. But if you want to remove one of these objects, suppose if I don't want this exponential mpg, so I will just say remove. So this remove command is again to remove the objects. So currently in this environment I have two objects. One is data and one is vector. I want to remove the vector, which is exponential mpg. And now you can see that I have removed that object which I have accidentally created. And if I go back to here, and before another thing that I would like to say, that when you are creating a saying attached data, so what R will do, R will only add this RDS data before the variables which we have already have in this dataset before line 15. So if you create a variable in this data after line 16, then you probably need to rerun this command again, because then R will not realize that I also want to attach RDS data for new variables. So suppose now if I come to, actually this is the same thing that I have all just discussed with you on this console window. And now I'm coming here that so suppose now I want to create a new variable, and that thing is just I also have done for you guys in this console window. So again I'm saying that once you specified a new variable, you have to specify attach function again, otherwise R will not attach the dataset name to the new variable. So this thing is a bit important. So sometimes we think that we have already attached RDS data in our line 16, but if we have created a new variable within this data structure after line 16, then R will only attach RDS data to our old variable, not to the new variables. So that's why, because I have created a new variable, I am attaching RDS data again. And so now so suppose if I do it here, so I will first run my code till here, control enter. If I go here, so as you can see I haven't attached RDS data structure name for exponential mpg. So if I say, actually summary is a very useful command in R. If I say summary, and I will just, if I say just write down the name of so suppose if I want to know summary of price, so R haven't given me error, and R is actually going to this data object and then going to price, because I've already attached RDS data for price. But can I do the same thing for exponential mpg? Probably I will get an error. As you can see that I got an error. So, and R is saying that object exponential mpg is not found. And actually R is considering that exponential mpg is a vector, but it's not a vector, actually it's a variable within this data object. So in that case I have to attach RDS data. So if I say attach RDS data, enter. So now R have also attached RDS data to this variable too. So now if I write down again, rerun the same command, summary, and then exponential underscore mpg, I didn't get any error. So because now R knows that I'm talking about a variable within the RDS data. So now I will come to tell you guys that how you can export data sets. So suppose you firstly loaded this RDS data in your R you have done some computations, and then you want to export this data sets into, suppose firstly in Excel if you want to export it. So in order to export into into Excel, so you have to first so suppose I am using this write XLS function to export my RDS data into an Excel format. So in order to use this function, you first need to have this write Excel package in your R. So in order to do that, you have to say that library write Excel. So first R will upload that package in the R, and then after that I will be able to use this command. Otherwise, if I directly use this command function, R will give me an error. So what I'm saying, I'm using this function, then I'm saying that I want to import this data object, which is RDS data, and I'm saying the path is equal to, you can also write down the whole folder path and then file name. And I want to say that I want to import this data object into Excel format, and that file name will be my data. So if I run my code till line 46, and I will show you guys, currently I don't have any Excel file in this folder, but hopefully when I will run this code, I will be having an Excel file here, because I have used this write XLS function. I will say Control Shift Home and then Control Enter. I have to go back to my folder. As you can see, now I have a new Excel file in this folder. If I can also open it for you guys with how data looks in this file. So as you can see, it have also added new variable that I have created within that data frame. So this is a one way to export data set into Excel from R. So after that, suppose if you also want to export data from R into a SPSS format. So for that, I need to first use the library. Foreign is a package that you have to upload in R first by using this library function, and then within this foreign package I have this function write.foreign, and in write.foreign I'm mentioning that this is the object which I want to export. So first what R is doing is that it's first exporting into my.text, and then it's calling my data.spss package to convert into SPSS. So here in this command, actually there are two things happening. It's from this command, R is exporting a text file and an SPSS file, but mainly we are interested in the SPSS file. So in order to export data from R into SPSS, you need this foreign package, and within this foreign package, after that you will need to use this write.foreign function. Then I will say Control Shift Home and then Control Enter, and if I go to my here, you can see that SPSS file have been created and a text document also have been created. So after that, I will show you guys that how you can export data into Stata. Stata data format is this .dta. So again, in order to export data from R into Stata, you need a foreign package. The name of the package is foreign, and within after that you have to use r.dta function of foreign package to export data. So again, I am firstly mentioned that what is the data object that I want to export into .dtf format, and then I am giving it a name. So again, if I show you guys my folder here, I don't have any .dtf file currently here, but if once I will use that function, run that command, I will be having a probably I will be having a .dta data set in that folder. So I'm saying Control Shift Enter. Now if I go here, you can see that .dtf file have been created in this folder. I can click it, and I can also show it that you can see that Stata have opened, that all the variables can be shown, can be seen here too. And after that, I will go back and I will show you guys that suppose you want to import the updated this data object, the Rds data, into Rds format. Within the Rds format, as I told you guys, is the our own data format, especially for the data objects. So for that, I don't need any library. I can simply say save RDS. Then I'm saying that which object I want to save. This RDS data object is already in my environment, which is this, and I want to save it as my underscore data dot RDS. Again, I'm saying that I'm just writing down the file names. I am not writing down the folder paths before them, because I've already created a working directory. So this is very beneficial when you have created a working directory, so that you don't have to write down the folder path again. You just have to write down the file name, and R will automatically get to know that you have to save those files in working directory. So now again I will show you guys that I only have one RDS file, which is the initial file I have uploaded in R. But now if I run this command, I will be having a new RDS data file, which will be named as my data RDS. I will say Control Shift Home and then Control Enter. And if I go to my folder, you can see that R have created also a RDS data file, my data file with the name as my data. And in the last, I will show you guys that if you want to export that data object which I'm using, which is the Rds data, into a CSV format, then you can use this command function, which is write.csv. Again, for this function you don't need any library. You can simply write.csv, and then the object that you want to export into a CSV. CSV is a comma separated file, and then after that I will be giving the file name again my data, my underscore data.csv. As you can see in this folder, I don't have any CSV file. But once after executing this code, Control Shift Home and then Control Enter, if I go to my folder, you can see now R have also created this Microsoft Excel comma separated value file. So this is a kind of a brief overview that how you can export data sets into different data format. I have told you guys about CSV, .dta, .xl, SPSS. These are the data set that most of the time, especially the beginners, will be using. But in R, there are many other functions that can be used to export other kind of data structures too. So data export in R is not just limited to data structure that I have discussed here. You can export in many other formats too.